hard to imagine a crazier year in 2024 than just passed us in 2023. But take a look at the stock market this week if you want some indication of how it could be a lot crazier. So let's talk about what happened this year that might have been crazy. Last year that might be crazy. For instance, 3 of the top university presidents in the United States were unable to say before Congress and under oath that protesters on their campus who screamed intifada or who called for genocide of the Jews in Israel would not fall under the bullying portion of their campus rules about speech. That was pretty crazy. Then the president of what is arguably the most prestigious university in the US and maybe in the entire world was found to have plagiarized dozens of pieces of content in her doctoral thesis and others in her very sparse writings. What there was of her writings, there was more plagiarism there. She was creating hiring practices based 100% on race or other protected statuses. And she was one of the 3 who seemed to be interested in protecting anti-Semitic and pro-Hamas protesters on her campus. This board then, the corporation that manages Harvard, took weeks to decide that she needed to step down and was totally supportive of her in many comments that they made. This from a university board that had no trouble firing the distinguished President Lawrence Summers for having the temerity of having an opinion that didn't fit into the current zeitgeist. Hi, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Please hit notify. You want to be reminded, of course, tomorrow morning, Larry Goldberg and I will be taking a hard look at what it is that Cathie Wood says later tonight. It's always amazing to see what Cathie has to say about the economy. I'm sure she thinks it's going to be crazy in 2024 too, and she'll say it in a very calm way, but she will be talking about some craziness that is obviously on the way. You also want to make sure that you buy your Cybertruck bottle openers. I mean, look at the box and then look what's inside. Tell me people won't be excited if they get that as a gift. Tell me you won't be excited when you get one just for your own use. You know the details. All of them are down below in the description. You can take care of that. Anyway, and then join Patreon. We have a $3 level now. Okay, this is the year when the economy defied almost every single expert. How often does that happen? I mean, every single expert, the Fed, the pundits, the investment firms who do all this amazing research, the university professors. I mean, just go across the entire breadth of all of those folks who comment on where they thought the economy is going. And they thought it was going to be a pretty bad year. Elon Musk, Cathie Wood, they were part of that group. We saw the fastest increase in interest rates ever in history, only to see inflation drop by the fastest rate in history before the effects of those interest rate increases could have begun to have an effect. And this was the year when we witnessed the lowest number of single-family dwellings on the market since record keeping began. The result was increasing prices even as mortgage rates skyrocketed to over 8%. This was the year when the Chinese economy stopped its inexorable streak of increasing GDP and had to finally decide what to do with all those ghost cities they built. This was the year when people woke up to woke, and they found out that hating white people because of what other white people did and or assuming that all white people are racist, even those who are not actually of white complexion, but just happen to be rich or powerful or part of some group they don't like, or maybe they're even just middle class. Anyway, they found out that there was not going to be, asking that those people pay some emotional or financial penance was not going to be a great way to win friends or influence people. This was the year when DEI started to DIE, and ESG turned out to be fraudulent on many, many levels. This was the year when ChatGPT and hundreds of new businesses started around AI as a result of the massive, amazing way that ChatGPT and its cousins have impacted the business and even just the regular world. This was the year that sounded the starting gun for a massive build out of compute and data storage that is projected to be 1 million times today's levels in just 7 years. 1 million times. This is the year that Elon Musk said the world will run short of transformers, now already happening, by the way, and electricity in 2027. I mean, literally not have enough in 2027 due to the power that will be needed to run these data centers. Everybody was worried about running out of electricity because of electric cars. No, that's covered. What's not covered is those data centers. His warning is not to be taken lightly, and apparently isn't being taken lightly. Well, by the way, Elon, he likes to warn about future events. He's been warning about things like the way the earth might end, but he's also been warning for years that AI might be dangerous and the controls are needed. Well, 2023 was the year that the average bloke realized that there was some real danger there, and legislators started, probably way too late, to contemplate what might be solutions or regulations that could help stave off an actual existential threat rather than the fake global warming threat that they've been spending so much time on. Well, speaking of global warming, those who still think global warming is an existential threat, which the UN doesn't, superglued themselves to pavements and poured various products on great art. This desperation suggests that they have no arguments left as the world rapidly switches to electricity. Also, sustainable methods for producing electricity and methods for getting to net zero that don't require killing off the current population in order to save a future population. This is the year when the extremely small minority of folks who believe they were born in the wrong body convinced a huge slice of the world that they needed all kinds of special consideration. This has angered much larger so-called protected groups like gays, women, and others. I'm so confused. But we haven't seen anything yet. So as Elon says, 2024 is going to be even more crazy, is my prediction. Those are his words. The birth rate of all advanced nations is shrinking. Obviously, those populations are getting older as a result. The people in those places are not getting married. They're not creating families. They're not even having sex. The failure to do these three things results in far less economic activity and makes it much harder to create wealth. The result is half of U.S. wealth is now in the hands of those over 55 years of age. This is having an impact right now, major impact, and it will have an even bigger impact going forward. I think the academics and the pundits and the analysts will start to get it this year. I've been talking about it for over a year, but nobody else is talking about it. I think you're going to see folks starting to get it this year. You see, old folks don't buy stuff. They don't buy stuff, okay? They vacation. They need medical care. They eat out a lot at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're seeing the U.S. economy growing in travel, medical, and other services. These old people are really well cared for, so they don't want to move in with their kids or go into elder care. They want to die at home, and they own the home outright. So these homes, they're not coming on the market ever. They will be handed over to their family in trusts. This matters. We've never seen anything like this in any economy. The closest example would be Japan, and their property values are half of what they were a generation ago. The lead edge of the baby boom is 78, even older than me. We now have more than half of the baby boomers past retirement age. No one is seriously looking at the ramifications of this group going forward, but it is impacting everything. I believe it is impacting the financial world as folks over 55 or over 65 don't invest in the same way as young people do. And I think it's changing the way that markets work. And I think we will begin to see people come to that conclusion in 2024 and begin to figure out we need to think about markets differently as the future unveils. But Innovation is going to be the key again in 2024 in ways that will be mind-bending. So we've got this whole demographic thing taking place on the one hand, which needs to be figured out and isn't being figured out. On the other hand, we've got these innovations that are going to take place in 2024 that are going to just change everything, which is why it's really going to be a crazy year. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room. And nobody's talking about it. It's barely being talked about in the press. I can't understand why not. And when it is, it's commonly negative. There will be humanoid robots doing real work in 2024. That's the headline. Even if I'm wrong about Optimus doing work outside of Tesla factories next year, they'll be doing work inside Tesla factories. I don't know anybody that doesn't think that's going to be true. At least one other U.S. company, Figure, says they're going to have robots in manufacturing facilities this year, in their customers' buildings this year, humanoid robots. And one Chinese company has made the same statement, and they're both showing videos of robots that look plenty capable to do those things. This is probably the most fundamental change in the human condition ever, and it's going to happen extremely rapidly. It will happen. It won't happen quite as fast as ChatGPT did, which is also a fundamental change, but it will happen very rapidly, and it will have changes that will be much further reaching long term than Chat did. Meanwhile, the ChatGPT related AI, it'll start to disrupt a huge amount of labor in 2024. We're starting to hear the rumblings of 30,000 here and 20,000 there. The only question is how many will be looking for other kinds of work? Not if, how many? That's what's going to happen in 2024. It will be a headline story all year long about this group being laid off, this group no longer being needed. This is what you're going to see all this year. Last year it was all positive. Oh, look, it's so much fun to play with, blah, blah, blah. No, next year it's going to be lots and lots of people losing their jobs. There's a pretty good chance that FSD will be solved and drivers will not need to pay attention to the road at some point in 2024. This will be an order of magnitude less of a major change than robots or GPT, but if those two were not happening in 2024, it would be one of the biggest alterations to the life experience of humans in the last 100 years. So that's 3. Now, yes, GPT was last year, but the real ramifications are coming this year. Robots are going to be the big deal next year, and maybe FSD as well, of course, which is just another robot. So what do you think? Those are 3 massive things that are going to impact your life and the lives of people around you next year. But what about other things? I've probably missed things. I didn't want to go on for an hour or two. I wanted to get the concept out on the table and then let you guys take over. I'm hoping to be able to do a follow-up video to this where I talk about your ideas. So please put your ideas down below. Comment, what did I get wrong? Is there something that you thought, Randy, how did you not add this to the pile? I mean, there's stuff in gaming that I'm not aware of. There's, of course, all the new headgear and stuff that allows people to have these, kind of weird experiences that we've never had before. I don't have much knowledge of those categories, but maybe you do. And let me know in the comments below. What do you think is going to be hugely crazy in 2024? And then if you haven't taken a look at that, talking about Optimus, if you didn't take a look at that video that I did yesterday with Scott Walter, you need to do that. It was really, really an important one. It really adds to the ongoing story, not just about what Optimus might be able to do, but the timing of Optimus. I mean, what we're talking about there is a robot that has far fewer skills, far fewer capabilities than an Optimus, and yet it was cooking a 3-course meal. So I think you should watch that video and hear what Scott had to say about that. The card is right here. You, of course, one last time, I want to always mention, of course, these amazing Cybertruck bottle openers and refrigerator magnets doing very, very well in the new year. I've actually been surprised and pleased at the number of orders that are coming in. And then you don't want to miss tomorrow morning when Larry Goldberg will be joining me to talk about what Cathie Wood talked about tonight. And then join Patreon at the $3 or the $5 or the $10 level. Remember that there are free Cybertruck toys, if you will, available if you join at the $10 level. All right, that's it for now. It has been great talking to you.